were never lost. You make me love so hard, but then you threw it away. You like to open skies and then you blame it on me. You're someone I could never be with. You joke about my flaws and weaknesses. What you love so hard, and then just throw it away. You opened up my heart and just to close it on me. Don't blame it on me. Standing in the cold, cold rain, I don't even feel the pain. Anything to step away. I know we could both do better. Wish you would've left me here. Now I'm just controlled by fear. What's the point in our reflection if you never look in the mirror? Counting the days until you're gone, waiting for us to carry on. Oh, I'm running, what am I running from? Time's going by, but where's the time going? I tried to give you everything, you took it all and took it for granted. If you're still falling out of love, maybe it's 'cause it's not enough. Setting fire to my brain, wondering how I'm to blame. You're the one who doesn't dream, so why are you always sleeping? I remember when you said you're afraid of what's ahead. What happened to ride or die? I asked and you just start crying. How are you acting so surprised? Haven't you seen it in my eyes? Oh, I'm running, what am I running from? Time's going by, but where's the time going? I tried to give you everything, you took it all and took it for granted. If you're still falling out of love, maybe it's 'cause I'm not enough. Maybe it's not enough. You can see straight through my life. Oh, there's something in my chest that I can't hide. When feelings get involved, I'm terrified. 'Cause I've been here before and said goodbye. Oh, are you the one when I try look I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? For you I'd give it one more try. Turn away and wrestle with my doubts. Oh, I leave them all behind, but don't know how. Bury my head deep within the crowd, but I'm reaching for your hand to pull me out. Oh, are you the one when I try find. Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? It's so hard to open my eyes. I'm blind to the light from the sky. I'm dealing with things I can't write. And all of you know it's been no easy road. But I keep working harder, going harder just to prove something. Burning out, I can't do shit for weeks. Guess I proved nothing. Everybody wants my work for free. I know you have the money, things are looking different. I'm not putting up with you, not anymore. And I know you think you still can take advantage, and you always took my humbleness for granted. But I know my worth, you can't take that away from me. And I know you think you still can take advantage, but it hasn't worked out like you fucking planned it. 'Cause I know my worth, you can't take that away from me. Lost myself, now I'm fully disguised. My heart got bruised up, so I put it on ice. Been told that I wouldn't make it in this life, but now all of you see there's so much room for me. And I know you think I still can take advantage, and you always took my humbleness for granted. But I know my worth, you can't take that away from me. And I know you think you still can take advantage, but it hasn't worked out like you fucking planned it. 'Cause I know my worth, you can't take that away from me.
Dude, it's all good. I feel refreshed, man. You know, water breaks are so necessary.
How about you give us an introduction and tell us what we have to look forward to today?
Juice, if you were a fruit, what fruit would you be?
A banana?
All right, so Rugless, if you could relate yourself or your project, whichever one you want to go with, to a fruit, which fruit would it be and why?
Okay, I'll go with the Eagleverse and banana.
Why
Okay,
banana, bro?
Because every time I speak with H1, it feels like I'm peeling one more piece of that banana, and it keeps getting better and better.
That sounds so
That
wrong.
project is awesome. So every time you think you know it, you know everything about it, it just surprises you.
You're the kind of guy. You're the kind of guy that if you were sat in the same room, you'd be eating a banana and maintaining aggressive eye contact. That's the kind of
Forcing the entire thing into his mouth at once.
Yeah.
I think the thing that we'll focus on this week is making sure that you stretch.
I don't know. I reckon a coconut, a green one.
a green coconut. Okay, we've had coconut before, but not a green one. Why?
I don't know. You got to go through the hard stuff before you can get to the good stuff. So
Yeah, thanks for asking. I think I would say probably a mango is like a fruit that you think is like pretty good, but when you actually bite into it, you're like, oh, this is delicious and amazing. It's like I'm all about trying to make things fun, make things enjoyable, and maybe a little bit surprising. Like, you know, your own mentality can make such a big difference in your life, your positivity and stuff. And I really, really enjoy being in spaces with all the people here, the other spaces that I've been in, and learning from everybody. So I get really excited, and I hope other people do too.
Good morning. Hello. Hold on, I have a message here. Am I live? I am. That's okay. I understand, and I know. What a weekend! I know, Andy. I know you've got some IRL stuff going on today, so I know that it's going to be kind of a fun day today. But we do have a bunch of really awesome guests. I know we have Daniel Pagan from Findora and Discrete Labs right here in our green room with Rugless. So we'll get them dragged up here, and we'll have them go over some stuff. But we had a really wild weekend. If you're following, crypto, I'm not sure if you were paying attention, Andy, but did you see that there was a Discord hack this weekend from one of our friends?
No, I didn't see that actually. I disconnected for the weekend to go and touch some grass, and just thought everything would be fine, but apparently the house burned down. Tell me more.
Well, I don't know if the house burnt down specifically, but we did see that the Egoverse and Echelon had an issue where their entire Discord was compromised. So if you guys listen and you're fans of the Egoverse and you haven't joined the new Discord, please make sure you go follow Echelon out on Twitter. That's E4 Echelon at Twitter. And make sure you join the new one. They've got a bunch of giveaways, etc. For the new server. It was not a bot that got hacked, just in case somebody hears that. It was actually like some social engineering. Somebody clicked the bad link.
Wow.
This goes to show.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Logan's saying that he can only hear you. So can people not hear me?
I can hear you. That's really strange, right? Because Discord output would be the same for both of us, right?
Yeah, that's
because
right.
We're both in the same chat.
I'm seeing the audio monitor moving as well, so it's telling me that the system can hear me. That's what I'm saying. My audio issues are very strange today. I don't know where this has come from.
You know what it is? What I was going to say is the second thing that happened this weekend was my wife actually downloaded a MetaMask and created an account. So I think because she's such a problem child for electronics, I think whatever she did is actually just fucked up your Discord, bro. That's what we're going to say is her powers of EMP are so prevalent that she can fuck up your shit even in Spain.
Okay, no.
Uh,
Apparently, the audio is fine. So yeah, no. Basically, if you remember, right at the end of the last show on Friday, I started having an issue with my Discord as well. Some very strange things started happening. So I doubt it's connected, but it was very bizarre. You know, in the sense that my Discord decided to send a link to Rugless that I never sent. So I then proceeded to make sure all devices were logged out of Discord, set up 2FA, and made sure everything, was secure again, which should be good practice anyway. But that was bizarre. I wonder if, well, I don't think so, but it was still weird. So, yeah.
Absolutely. It's just weird stuff. So everyone out there, that Discord is absolutely part of the crypto scene. So make sure that you understand that you need 2FA turned on for your Discord. Yes, it's annoying, but security is paramount. Make sure you don't lose your stuff. So looks like we've got everybody up in the call now. So that's so wonderful.
I was talking to Daniel. I wanted to see if he was as cool as his face, and it is. He's a pretty cool guy.
I was going to say, I actually think he's pretty cool. I think we're good. So Daniel, why don't you do everyone a favor and introduce yourself and what you do?
Sure. First off, I don't know how cool I actually am. I would disagree with you guys, but hi. Thanks for inviting me on the show. Should I actually turn on my camera? I feel like I should be on camera here. Because you guys,
if you want to be, you can be on camera. Andy will be on camera because he's really handsome. I'm actually
not. I'm actually not at the moment. But if Daniel wants to be on camera, absolutely, that's no problem at all. I will.
Yeah, you can tell Rugless is at work because he's wearing a polo. He must have a meeting. He's like, I'm dressed
in a nice shirt.
I know. That's what I mean. He's usually in like an incredible shirt or a band T-shirt. So that's awesome, Rugless. So what you got going on for that, man?
I heard Findora was in the house. I decided to come a bit cleaner. This is my version of ZK.
And here I am with a basic tee.
That's all that matters, right?
You look like Steve Jobs. That's why you bought a Mac.
Are you talking about my Mac?
Yeah, you're just.
I was having some technical difficulties, and I said to Rugless that I have a new MacBook. I'm new to MacBook, and I had to give it some access to my microphone. And you don't really have to do that with Windows, right? Like you just install it, and it just pretty much has access. Which, when I put it that way, doesn't sound great, I guess, but it's certainly a lot easier. How's it going, guys?
I think the weekend is over for everybody, right? But like, not that the crypto has a weekend, right? Because there's no such thing as that for us, unfortunately, anymore. But outside of that, Daniel, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into crypto? Because most of us who know who you are recognize that you've worked for, this is probably your second blockchain now with Findora. So why don't you kind of give us a little bit of a breakdown on how you got into the crypto scene? Because working for a blockchain is, a major accomplishment for people who want to work in Web3. And I think a lot of the ability to share your experience might be helpful for other people who look like they might have skill sets that can be helpful.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can start from my Web 2 job. Does that make sense? I can start there.
Start wherever you want.
Sure. So before getting into Web3, before working in blockchain, I was in IT. I was a Cisco support engineer with a focus on voice over IP and signaling protocols. What that basically means is that I was doing technical support for high priority issues for a bunch of our global customers, and I was point contact on like the Ernst & Young contract, Bloomberg, LP, Global, Mount Sinai, a few others, and I was at that for 14 to 15 years. And I eventually made my way as to a technical lead role. So I managed the senior engineers, and handled a lot of our communications between the technical side and the customer. From there, I was already in blockchain, kind of, or rather, I was more like a enthusiast, right? In 2017, I had some experience doing some light trading. But fast forward a bit more to the period that actually counts. I found Harmony, and just kind of just looking for projects to invest in. And I want to say that I did some research into the team and the tech, and that's how I found them, but that's not true. I just kind of found the logo, and thought the logo looked nice. But that's when I started to look into them even further. Looked at the tech, looked at the team, found their subreddit was completely deserted. Are you guys still there? Or am I just that captivating?
No, you're good. We're trying real hard not to interrupt. We have a habit of talking out of turn, so we're trying really hard to be responsible adults and respectful.
Feel free to interrupt. Feel free. So anyway, where was I? Yeah. So I found the project. I then found their.
I'm just going to jump in because you said to interrupt. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
No, that was it. I was just going to interrupt.
Oh, you're just going to interrupt. I mean, I kind of asked for it, right? So I found.
You have no idea. It's going to go a lot worse from now on.
It's going to get worse. Oh, yeah. God. All right. Just take it easy on me. It's still early here. I still have like sleepy nights, I think. All right. So found their subreddit was completely deserted. I mean, we had like meditation videos. Like people just on Reddit just thought that it was about harmony, like harmony and life and energy and blah blah blah. So there was a lot of like meditation videos and things like that on the subreddit. It's like, guys, like this needs to be cleaned up. Somebody has to be on top of this and be contributing at the same time, because like Reddit there's so much potential here, right? So they just said, okay, go ahead and manage it. So I started managing it. And from there, I started writing a bunch of posts. I got them on AMAs with different subreddits, eventually got them an AMA with ARK/cryptocurrency. So like 5 million members. That took some months to do. But anyway, I met Strong Minds Hold. I think you guys know him. And a couple of other people. And I guess the team started seeing what I was doing for them. I started working pretty closely with some of the core team members there. And eventually, I was offered a full-time role. I left my career of 15 years and took a leap. And I started working for Harmony. And that was last year. So that's how I got in. I mean, there was no like secret sauce really. It's just like I just got involved. I got pretty involved. I mean, my life at that time was really my full-time job, and during breaks on my full-time job from 9 to 5, and then from 5 till the time I slept was that. If it wasn't my full-time job, it was working in Web3, volunteering my time. So, yeah, I mean, I just, that. Yeah,
One
yeah,
of the things
it's no secret.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to hit on exactly what you were saying. Is like we talked with Echelon and a bunch of people yesterday who worked in the space and broken into Web3, and people were wondering why the resumes don't really matter as much when you're working in Web3. And with what you're saying right here, you kind of got into it just like everyone else was saying in that space yesterday, was that you kind of just had to show and put your work in and show that proof of work, essentially, you know, even if it's a proof of stake. kind of environment sometimes with EVM. But what do you think was the hardest part of that transition? Because like one of the things that I think I know I myself have kind of fallen into, and I'm sure other people have, is like, how do you balance out your time effectively while you're trying to make that transition, right? Because like it must have been really difficult to work from 9 to 5 and then, you know, be not present, so to speak, while you're, you know, doing the things for Web3 which you believe in. So how did you kind of balance that?
That's a tough question to answer. I'm probably not the best person to answer that. I can give you my experience and what I did.
Please share.
I think some of what I did actually kind of got me into a little bit of trouble. Not with my job or anything, but like personal life. Because I had no balance. I have the personality where if I'm interested in something and I start working in it, I start reading about it, I start studying it, I start working with it. I tend to really dive in. And I have in the past, at least, had difficulty with establishing boundaries around it. So what do I mean by that? I was working my full-time job, which in itself wasn't really 9 to 5. It was, like 9 to 7 plus a little bit at 8 p.m. plus a little bit at 10 p.m. kind of job. You know, like when you're supporting customers of that size, you just got to be available, right? So that was my job. And then doing some volunteer work in Web3 and just trying, I mean, really, I was just trying to like show what I could do, right? Even if I wasn't offered a job, like I just wanted to prove myself. And so that meant putting in as many hours as possible and doing whatever I could. So that meant I didn't sleep. I barely slept for a number of months. On top of that, I ran a validator. So that took some time. Yeah, honestly, like to answer your question, Priest, I had a really unhealthy life-work balance. Very unhealthy.
And you were kind of getting there, so it's kind of one of those things that sorry to set you up for that, but it is. Do you think that moving forward that has to be a focus for you? Do you think that lack of balance was detrimental to part of your life? It may not have been like your volunteer work, may not have been your career. So what do you think you want to do to try to facilitate that balance moving forward?
Well, I mean, it helps now that it is my full-time job, right? It was really, the hardest part was trying to give everything to both. And it was like, you know, trying to work like 2 10-hour jobs. It's that really required your focus.
Exactly.
It was just unsustainable, right? So did it affect my personal life? Like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
That's okay. You don't have to go too far into that.
Yeah. But I can.
No, you're good.
No, I was going to say, but I will say that it certainly helps when you do make that transition, right? When you do make that transition, you can say farewell, at least farewell for now, to your Web 2 job, and you move into Web 3. I'll be honest, it was just like this burden had lifted off of my shoulders. This like 100 pounds had just taken off of my shoulders, knowing that I could just dedicate my time to what I really enjoyed doing. I really enjoyed my last job in IT. I mean, I was in it for 15 years for a reason. At least that one job, and I had another IT one before that, but I was in it for 15 years. I loved it. I loved the challenge, But to just jump into something brand new, I mean, it's just such a great feeling. So it was worth it, I would say. But you can only do it for so long, right? But once you make the transition, I guess what I'm getting at, once you make the transition, it becomes a little bit easier, less to juggle.
And I think that's important for people who are trying to make that transition to hear, is that like there are opportunity costs if you don't try to have balance, and like there's always going to be something out there. So one of the things that I think is kind of interesting is you've now worked for your second blockchain. What kind of lessons did you learn from your first experience that you think could be beneficial in your second experience? And we don't have to talk about like people specifically, but what type of like situations would you want to like have preparations for now that you didn't previously?
Good question. Yeah, without going into specifics, that's a good question. I think I've thought about that before. I mean, I have. I just,
It's okay. We like to ask some stumpers.
No, I can. No, this is a really good question. So when I first started working, so I'm with Fedora now, right? Rather contributing to the Fedora project. I'm with Discrete Labs, which is one of the main contributors to the project. And as you know, my last job was Harmony, and with Harmony, when I first started, the first thing that I was told was find something to do and do it. Find something to fix and fix it. Another person said, ask for forgiveness, don't ask for permission. Okay. Luckily, I was already I was already used to that type of work style, because when I was a Cisco support engineer in the role that I was in, and the company that I had worked for, you can kind of just find something to do, right? If you had nothing to do, go find something to do and just do it. That was the mentality there. So it made it a lot easier to jump into my role with Harmony. But I understand that is not where everyone comes from. So to answer your question, I got a lot more practice finding something to do. I got a lot more practice in kind of analyzing the landscape and going where I'm needed. So I had a lot more practice at Harmony. I'm bringing that to Fedora. That's what my last job prepared me for, or prepared me more to take on. And I feel like since this is, I feel like that's common in Web3 projects, right? Because it's moving so fast, things move so fast. And things, you can be required to, not fix an issue, but if a crisis happens here, you gotta jump into that. If a new, mandatory update for mainnet comes up, you gotta, switch over, and now you're not writing a Medium article, and you're not doing co-marketing, and maybe you're not doing community improvements, but now you're switching over to the validators, and you're communicating with them and trying to, figure out who's running what. And I'm just coming up things off the top of my head, right? So probably not the best example, but you can see how you need to kind of flow with it, if that makes sense. So I don't know if that answers your question. I'm kind of going, rambling
okay.
at this point, but
there's nothing one of the things we like to do is try to ask questions that kind of make you have to, give us real answers. And it's very clear that you, one, don't want to say anything bad about your previous employer, because no one wants to burn any bridges, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has left a job before and wanted to say things respectfully about their previous employer. I would say that every person who's an adult after their mid-30s has worked for more than one employer. And if they haven't, their parents might own that company. And that's really not fair for me to say that, but like, that's not normally the normal experience for people that have been educated after the 80s when we're taught to career hop. So one of the things I think is kind of interesting is with the experience you've had, you've come from working in IT, from having to, relate, difficult technical details to people who maybe aren't quite as technically gifted, or understanding in that. Where do you think the biggest opportunities are within Web3 to try to get on board more people from Web2 into Web3, right? Like, so you work in a community team, and you're working in a role like that as comms and with liaison between, the front lines of Web3, but you also see kind of where Web3 is going. What do you think we're lacking in Web3 right now? Because, we kind of get the perspective of project leaders here very often, or people within the community. We don't get the perspective of people who are like, quote unquote, in the shit. So if you could enlighten us as to what you think we need to do, that would be awesome.
Well, I think I can only answer from my perspective, right? And from my perspective, so for a lot of people who are looking to get into Web3, what are we missing in Web3, and how can you get in? Was that the question? I think that was the question. I'm going to pretend like that's the question.
Yeah, that was the question. I'm sorry. I have to mute sometimes. I apologize. That's the question. Like, how can we grow the Web3 community?
Interesting. How can we grow the Web3 community? Let me go to the first one, and that's like what do I think we're missing in Web3, and where can people get in? That's I feel like my answer is going to be the same as before, because I don't think there is a secret sauce to it. I think so. All right. One person. I met someone when I started my original validator last year. Maybe you guys know him. He goes by Ogre Abroad.
Of course, we've had Ogre on the pod before. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, Ogre's great. He's a great person.
No, we are great. We get the best people.
Well, you're greater. Ogre is just, he's okay. Actually,
we are different levels. We're all great.
That's perfect. That's perfect. No,
I take everything back that I said about Ogre. Yeah. I'm getting it here. I'm catching on. So I met Ogre, and I remember something that he said, because I asked him, "Hey, I'm running a validator. I'm new to the community. And I'm looking to grow. Like, what can I do?" And he said, he's said this a number of times before, maybe even said on this podcast. He said, "Find your superpower and practice it." Right. So what I'm getting at there is, what are you good at? And I'm not talking to you guys, of course, right? I'm talking to whoever might be listening or watching who's trying to get into Web3. It's like, what are you good at? Are you good at video editing? Are you good with talking to people and establishing relationships? Are you a developer? Do you do web design? Like, what do you do? And whatever it is that you do, or whatever it is that you're really good at, just put it to practice, right? So if you're really good at like video editing, well, find a video that's out there and say, "Hey guys, team, I took this video that you uploaded on your YouTube channel and I made it look like this. Check it out. Right? Just do it. Do it and show your work. Get up on that stage and show off. Right? Show some hubris. Just show what you can do. And maybe that means again, taking something that whatever team you're trying to work for, take something that they made and make it better and show them what you can do. Or maybe not bringing it to the team, bring it to their Discord, bring it to their Telegram, bring it to Reddit, tag them on Twitter and show your work. I'm just thinking out loud here, right? Because like I said, there's no secret, but exercise what you're really good at, do what you're really good at, show off, and put yourself out there. I started as a moderator. I started off as a validator and a moderator, right? So I saw Reddit as my opportunity to take something that I know how to talk to people. Maybe not in person, but in writing I can talk to people. Maybe this podcast is going awful for me right now. I don't know.
No, you're doing great. Actually, the whole point of the podcast is for people to recognize the people who work in Web3 are people, right? Like we all have like shit that happens in real life, but like there's experiences that you have that people can be related to. So don't worry about whether or not you're coming off good. You're coming off great. You're coming off genuine. It doesn't seem like you're bullshitting us. If you were bullshitting us, it would be a different conversation. But like, I think to try to steer you back, I don't think that I'm worried about more people trying to get into Web3, right? Like, I think Ogre's 100% on the right page of like, yes, superpower. Yeah, if you're good at this, show people that you can do this, right? Like, I think Flu also has said, like, if you can't get people to work for your project for free right now during the bear market, what the fuck are you doing? Because like, if you believe in something, you have skills that like could help them, reach out to them. But I think what I was trying to get at, Daniel, was more of a, what does Web3 specifically need to get more mass adoption? Does that make more of a sense as to where, the question I was trying to get at? I'm sorry. I like where you were going with that, but I'm more concerned, like, how do we onboard new users?
I don't even know if I'm qualified to answer that question, to be honest.
None of us are. That's the whole point. None of us are qualified in Web3.
Yeah.
Web3 is so nascent
what do I
that
think
no one...
personally?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot is needed. One, I think, and maybe this is a good, this might act as a really good segue into something. But I mean, improvements across the board, to be very honest, from wallets to entertainment, gaming, music streaming, to education, right? Simplifying it. Right? If you want massive, so my former coworker, Adrian Robeson, super smart guy. I think he's like Emmy award winning. He did a lot of work for us in my last job. Great guy. And he always said that if you want to appeal to the most people, you have to aim low and then aim even lower, right? You have to make it easy for everyone to get.
Correct.
For everyone to get. So as long as we're still talking about seed phrases, we're not going to see, in my opinion, I don't think we're going to see mass adoption. If someone has to know what that is, they're going to be turned away. Most people, I would argue.
So let's explore that point, though. I like that point. I don't want you to go too far from that one, because I agree with you. Because I onboarded my wife this weekend, right, into the world. And because she had like some NFTs from some people who were on our show, and she's like, I'm paying attention. I want to learn. This is going to be the future. Let's figure this out. And she's like writing down her book. It's just like, she understands why these 12 words are important, right? But then, we have people on the podcast like Mathos who say that, those 12 words are so important, they can only be put in metal and then a safety safety deposit box. And then you have to but if it's your ledger wallet, right, and it's your cold storage and you have actual value there, that makes sense. So now you have to explain a cold wallet versus a hot wallet to somebody. So that seed phrase question, right, that begets 3 more layers of shit you have to know. So how do we keep security while doing that? Because I know Cisco is not cybersecurity. I know we had that conversation. I'm an idiot. I understood that part from before. But how do we get that part fixed, right? How do we do that? Because there's the you have house keys and everyone has to have their house keys, but there's a locksmith. So there's always a backup. But in crypto, there's no backup without those seed phrases. So are we looking at a whole system change that needs to happen there for that? Or is it just kind of hey, this sucks, but barrier of entry, we can't really do anything about it kind of a deal? How, do you know of your personal, not professional, nothing from Fedora or whatever, but personally, what do you think is a possible solution for that kind of a problem?
Solution. Well, yeah, I think first it has to start with user onboarding, right? So the wallet, and there's a social wallet that's in development right now where you don't have to focus it. You don't have to pay attention to your seed phrase. I forget the actual technical details of it, but basically uses your Google Authenticator to restore your access to set up the wallet and to restore access. So you don't really have to remember your seed phrase. But yeah, I mean, I personally, I might be the wrong person to ask, but it's all about user onboarding. So maybe I won't go into specifics and sound like a complete idiot. But it's user onboarding. It's not requiring the seed phrase, which means, there has to be some changes to our everyday wallets that we're using to store assets. It's using words or acronyms and phrases that people just don't resonate with most people, right? Like NFTs.
Correct.
Yes, people know NFTs, but NFTs for a lot of people carry a negative connotation or stigma attached to it, right? Do we need to use NFTs when we're describing something? Probably not, right? We could come up with something else that can describe that. We do that all the time in tech. Just thinking of what I do, what my last job or my last career, right? We don't really say anything about SMTP. We don't say anything about POP3 or SIP or MGCP. We just say, yeah, we're going to make a call. We don't say that we're making a voice over IP call. We don't say that we're, it's just, we simplify it to the point where users feel comfortable. People are comfortable with what they know, what they're used to, what they grew up with. So again, if we're going back to what I was saying, if we're looking at mass adoption, we need to stop using a lot of these terms and phrases that people never really grew up with and don't feel comfortable with. Make it simple, make it easy. That's when we'll start seeing mass adoption. But there's no one right answer. I don't think I'm really ever going to convince my mother to access a Web3 platform, click on the connect wallet button, sign a transaction, right? Switch the network. She's never going to be able to.
I agree with you 100%.
Not never be able to, but she's never going to. She's just going to feel so uncomfortable. She's going to say, F that, I'm done. I'm going to go back to, watching Judge Judy.
And like I 100% agree with you. Like that is a biggest obstacle, right? Like how do we do that? What do you think, Reglis? You're about to say something.
Yeah, I'm about to say two stupid things. One is gamify. All those marketing words just made everything worse. Initially, it was a marketing scam, basically, a marketing way of explaining stuff, you know? And I think with time, it only got worse because now everybody connects that word to, oh, games are evil. If we play games, we might make money, but we might lose more, you know? So instead of just doing it like everyone does, it's for the fun of playing the game, and you own your shit, basically. But now nobody can use that word. It's gone. It's like scorched earth, you know? The other thing is about the wallets. Well, nowadays everyone knows what is a credit card, and they input a number in a website. So I think just the user interface and experience that needs to improve. Explain it that if you already have that difficult part of having a wallet in your browser, it's not that hard to just connect the button. You don't have to put your number every single time, you know?
Actually, I use credit card as the way I described a wallet to my wife because, like,
Yeah,
I'm trying to
because it
describe
is.
that. Exactly, it is. The wallet is a misnomer. It is not actually a wallet. Nothing is there.
No, it is.
Like,
No,
nothing is there.
It's on the blockchain.
And like
on every
Exactly.
single blockchain. I learned that the hard way when everything unpacked, but that's another story. But it's on the blockchain, not on your wallet. It's beautiful and scary at the same time.
Correct. It's like, you know, the cybersecurity things that you needed to practice, like when you're at work, now you have to practice them at home, right? Like you can't click scary links. Like, wait, who sent this to me? And I think we've all been, I think we've all clicked something we shouldn't have with crypto. I know I have famously, you know, within 5 minutes of being on Solana, clicked a bad link. So, Daniel, have you done anything stupid in your crypto life that you are like, you know what, that was a learning experience for me, and you know, I don't want other people to be dissuaded from making that kind of mistake because, you know, it's more common than they think.
Anything stupid besides coming to this show. So
correct. Besides wasting your morning.
Anything stupid? Oh God, I'm sure I made some stupid mistakes before. I mean,
maybe you got rugged.
Yeah, I mean, I jumped into a. No, I don't. Have I been? Yeah, I don't. Sorry, I was going to mention a specific project name. I'm not going to mention it. I lost a lot of money on that.
Are they gone? Does the project exist anymore? If it doesn't exist, you can say whatever you want.
Go for it.
It still exists. No, it still exists. It still exists.
Oh well, there's one project that exposed me a house.
Yeah, there's a project that lost me a lot of money that doesn't exist anymore, so I get it.
It definitely existed in the beginning, so
we can talk about it offline for sure. Yeah, I mean, in 2017 is when I first started looking into blockchain. I, you know, purchased altcoins. I started with ETH, and then I went to Litecoin, and then I just dabbled into a bunch of like no-name projects. So maybe it's jumping into projects without doing my research. You know, they're not around anymore. One that really stands out is Black Moon Crypto was the name, I think, BMC. And it was, again, this is 2017 during the hype. Like I'm super new to all of it, and I don't know, there was like someone on YouTube that was like, oh, like check out Black Moon Crypto, and it's like my dark horse pick of the week. And I dropped money on it. And then it dropped me. I lost a lot of money on that. So not doing my research, and just following blindly to what some, you know, YouTuber was suggesting that day or that week. I had no idea what I was doing. Right. It was fun. I didn't lose a lot of money, but I definitely lost some money. Yeah. I made
all
some
good.
stupid mistakes. I'm sure I lost some seed phrases. I probably haven't lost many seed phrases. I've been using a password vault for like forever, just because I was in IT, and that's what everyone on my team was doing. So when it came to like seed phrases and passwords, I mean, I have everything that I've made for like the past 6 years. So no, and I've never been rugged, right? Because I don't honestly, like, I don't do DeFi. I just don't. Um, I've never really been too interested in it, to be very honest, personally, right? Um, but yeah, it's hard for me to answer because I don't think I've really made a lot of stupid mistakes aside from that in 2017, following the
Well,
advice of
that
some
counts.
idiots, being an idiot
But that counts,
myself.
though. That counts, right? Because like you fell into the I'm going to just listen to this person. And you said that now you do your own research, but what do you need? Like, what do you actually do for your own research? And this is kind of a question I like to ask people because who have been in the space for a long time. Because like what I started doing wasn't as successful as what I do now, right? And like I like to see how other people's processes evolved, so I can see if there's something there that I'm not considering that they consider. So, what would you consider your research for a project?
I'm sure my research is going to be different in some ways from your research, or maybe not. Or maybe mine's going to be considered more basic. I don't know. But so before throwing anything down on my last investment, or even joining a team, I pretty much do what most people do. I would say tech and team, right? Look into the tech, look into the team. Um, and but for me, it's more about the team than it is about the tech. I don't know if that's good or bad, but for me, it's the people who are behind the project, more so than it is the actual project, because it's the team that's driving that. It's the team that's making the decision on where that project is going, how it can improve, right? And so I might look into the project itself or the tech, but that can change over time if you're investing in the
Mm-hmm.
right people. So yeah, like who's running the show? Maybe not running the show, but who's the main contributor to it? Is there anyone really running the show? You might not be able to see that at first. But is there anyone running the show? Is it multiple people? What are their backgrounds? What are they known for? What have they done in the past? Do they have LinkedIn profiles? Are they active on social media? Are they doxxed? If they're not doxxed, I want nothing to do with them. Um, uh, yeah, are they on LinkedIn? Can you communicate with them? Maybe not super easy, right? Like you might not be able to reach certain people because they're just pretty busy. But are some of the members available? Can you have a conversation with them, even through like Discord or Twitter DM? Um, and or do they come like this? Actually, is pretty important to me. Like, do they come across as genuine people? Whether it's in an interview, on a podcast, on YouTube, even in writing, does it seem super scripted? Um, or do they seem like pretty genuine people who are just passionate about what they're doing? I think that comes across pretty naturally most of the time, and you can pick up on that.
I will say that I'll point out that we all know some devs who are like, they're just devs. There's no way for them to communicate with people without code. And I don't mean that in like a negative way. I mean that because they're just
Yeah,
savants
I
at
understand
that.
that.
Yeah. And I just want to let people know out there, like, we understand those people and we understand that they exist. And sometimes those people have problems with communicating in public and building that rapport. That's why it's kind of important to know about a bunch of different projects and do your research on when you're doing on people. But like, I think we can reference Quack as a person who was possibly not received very well, despite them being really, really awesome at what they do, coding wise. And I just want to shout him out that he is not an FBI agent in any capacity. Thank you, Quack, for all the
Goodness.
work you've been doing on the One Recovery Foundation. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Quack is awesome. Yeah, no, Quack is a really great guy. He might not be great on a Twitter space, but I mean, he is super smart and just a genuine person. I mean, if you ever met him in person, you would want to be his friend, honestly. But yeah.
I appreciate some of the things he said. Sometimes, but it's difficult when you first are getting used to people. So that's why I kind of think it's important that you touched on it. Is that like the projects that you're able to get behind are ones that are out there and trying to become part of the community, not just somebody who's just trying to. I wrote this. Here it goes. Have fun. Because at the end of the day, people who are trying to become part of the community are people who are more than likely to not do things as a bad actor, right? Because they have that public presence.
Exactly. Yeah. It just shows that they have a lot vested into the project, right? They have a lot of skin in the game, right? A lot riding on the line. And by a lot, I mean their reputation, because reputation in this space is everything, in my opinion. And it may not be everything. I might be over exaggerating there, but your reputation will follow you. The Web3 space is pretty small. A lot of people know people. So yeah.
And as it grows, the people who know people are the ones who are bringing more people in, right? So like, it's not just that there'll be people who don't like you. It's that'll be people who follow people that don't like you, and the web of people that don't like you will just keep growing and growing and growing. It's difficult to try to deal with that with businesses when they've been doing a lot of negative things publicly, and then you have to come in behind them. I work in real life and consulting small businesses, and when you do recovery work behind people who have done a poor job with their customer base, you have to spend 4 times as much time apologizing to people than you should ever have to ever in your life, and it's just kind of a difficult hole to get out of, right? So when you establish that your reputation is tarnished, you have to but I think a lot of people who work in Web3 can also recognize that failures shouldn't necessarily follow people everywhere, unless that failure is a specifically done out of malice, right? If you
malicious. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to close my curtain, but I can still hear you. Just in 2 minutes, this is going to be right in my eye, and it's going to be pretty annoying.
Oh yeah, you can fix that. That's okay. I understand. But I do find it interesting that a lot of people, as they've been in the Web3, the longer they've been there, the more likely they are to try to get invested and trying to spend the time to learn about projects they want to get into, because it does take a little bit of time to do what you consider your research, but without that, it can cost you way more money than what you pay yourself per hour. And I think people need to recognize that.
Two things, and whenever I say 2 things or 3 things, I always forget one of them. So hopefully I remembered. So the first was I was going to, yeah, thank you. So what this podcast is for, let's just highlight all of the mistakes.
Perfect.
The first thing was shit. Oh yes, the first thing was when I say I kind of just want to make a bit of not a correction, but just to clarify. When I say if they're not docs and I'm not interested, what I really mean is joining a project to working for a project, and that's just personally. But getting involved, it's a little bit different. Whether it's I don't know, purchasing their token or their NFT or whatever, or just supporting them is sure. But if I'm going to work for that project and put my reputation on the line for them, then I got to know who they are. That's just how I am. So I just want to clarify that. And the second thing was something that you said about mistakes. Yeah, I mean, people make mistakes. We're human, right? We're just people, and people make mistakes all the goddamn time. Because we're flawed animals. We're just so yeah, people make mistakes, but what type of mistake did they make? Did they was it malicious? Was it clearly malicious? Or
Did they
like,
obfuscate
there's
the mistake
so-
after and not be accountable for it, right? Like, it's how do they handle the mistake afterwards, right?
How do they
It's
handle it? How do they handle what degree did that impact people? Like, there's so many, ways
Yeah,
to
I mean, like-
measure a mistake. So
for sure. Like, if you said you were going to get something done, you missed your own deadline, by a day or something and you're like, hey, something came up. I dropped the ball. I apologize. I got this and this done. I'm sorry. Here's what we get coming up afterwards. And, you're good to go. If you, gave that seed phrase that you were talking about, right? Like to like the multi-sig for somebody and you like lost that, right? Like if you lost that kind of a problem, and there's like thousands of dollars worth of people's money that's not yours necessarily there, that is a much different problem than, and I'm not trying to reference your past job, by the way. I recognize as I said that I was trying really hard not to, and I made it even worse when I brought it up. So rip, apologies. But that wasn't what I was going for.
it's a thing that happens. So it's a thing that happens.
Don't
I wasn't
worry, I
going
did
for a
it
hack.
first.
Well, I wasn't going for a hack. I was going for more like just being an idiot, right? Like maybe you have like your seed phrase, like it saved on your phone in a picture, right? And then you like clicked on a dumb link from your email on your phone, and that's how you lost like your seed phrase for like the multi-sig. That's like a much different problem, right? Than like, hey, I made a mistake, and we don't even have to do Web3. We can just go into like Web2, right? Like I worked for a bank at one point in time where the CEO who was retiring did not understand information security so much that they gave him a fake email address and would only forward him emails that had been checked by the director of IT because he was so
What?
stupid.
No way.
Oh my God, I swear to you.
No way.
I swear to you. I swear to you.
Wow.
He was in like 2008, 2009. He was like 75, dude. You know what I mean? Like he was old as dirt. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that he was like, but how you have to insulate that person from making that mistake, right? Like because he could have
just give him a fax machine.
Bingo, right? But like they built all this huge server
Nothing
room
wrong
in
with
this
fax
brand new
machines.
building. But you gotta protect that person from making that stupid mistake. And like we don't give my mom a credit card for the internet because she's like giving away access of her computer to hackers multiple times through Facebook, right? Like I can't fix that. So you just gotta like, nah, you don't get that anymore. You're not allowed to have that. So like that, my mom's never getting crypto wallet, like not with actual any money in it. You know what I mean? Like, mom, here's $100. You can have $5. There you go. That's all you get. But like that's actually easier than a bank account, right? That's actually easier because I can control all of that than trying to give her a credit card that the bank wants to give her more of a limit with, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll just increase it for you. It's like, but I don't want her to do that. Anyway, I digress. So we've done a lot talking about you, and we haven't really talked about Findora, right? We talked a little bit about how like you won't join a project unless everyone's docked. So how about you tell us about why you joined Findora as a blockchain, since it is really, really small comparative to your previous project, right? Like that you talk about your leap from Web 2 into Web 3. And then what about this leap from Web 3 and from a larger chain into another chain that's smaller?
Yeah. So, well, when I first, okay, yeah, I was going to say, well, when I first joined Harmony, they were also small, but which is true. I think by market cap, they were like 150, 140 or something like that, 130. I don't know. Somewhere on the second page, somewhere in the middle of the second page, I think. But yeah, so Findora is smaller, but Findora is, it being smaller is actually one of the reasons why I was interested. I like joining a project or a company at the ground level. At this point, what is it now, 16, 17 years ago, when I first started my career as a Cisco support engineer. Even that company was super small. I mean, before I left, we had like 16, 17 support engineers working on the team, and that doesn't include our customer relationship manager, didn't include the director, doesn't include me and a few other people who weren't directly like on the front lines. But when I first started, we had 3 people, and they still relied on beepers, pagers. It was, it was small, but I really enjoyed that.
Like, let's put the time frame in context though for a second, Daniel. Beepers and pagers, while still being relatively comical because of where we are technologically, if it was like 2001, right? Like that's what was available, or a flip phone, right? Like,
I mean, it was no. Well, I joined that company when I joined that company about 6 to 8 months, maybe 10 months in, is when the iPhone was first announced.
Okay, so yeah, they didn't have any excuse to be on beepers. They could have had flip phones. There was like even
they could have had flip phones. They could have, but like I feel like just texting was still like not as huge as it is.
It was pay for text, probably still.
Yeah. I mean, I had a BlackBerry back then. I don't know if any of you guys ever had a BlackBerry. Tracy probably had a BlackBerry.
Yeah,
I would imagine I had a BlackBerry. I had a BlackBerry, and I had a Nokia as well before that. The indestructible phones. I'm probably showing my age. I know I don't look it. I'm turning 39 this year. Yeah. So like, what I'm getting at basically is that they were small. It was a very small team, but I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it because you get to come in with in a certain role. You have certain responsibilities that are assigned to you, but because it's so small, you get to do other things. There's flexibility that comes with that I really enjoy. So that's one thing. The second thing is, when you're joining a small team or small project, in addition to the flexibility, that flexibility then allows for creativity. So you have flexibility. You get to be creative a little bit more because you're not restricted to this just one, small area. And this is a big one for me, is you get to contribute to something that could become so much bigger. And I like that. Like in my spare time, I make music. Sometimes it's like electronic or metal or a combination of the two. But when I'm making it, like, you're starting with something basic. You're starting with, a beat. You're starting with a rhythm that you have in your head. Something so basic, so small. You get to make it into this like bigger thing that just, and seeing that happen over time and using your passion and using your creativity to turn it into something that it wasn't before, something better or bigger. It's just a great feeling, right? I just love it. So those are some of the reasons why.
Like having an impact. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's about having an impact. It's about making something. It's about contributing to something where you can make an impact. Yeah. That's one of the main reasons why I was so interested in joining a team in Web3 and leaving my last job. I mean, being there for over a decade. Yeah, it was challenging, but I mean, how many times am I going to, run an audit for SSL certificates on a global cluster and plan the renewals or troubleshoot, blah blah blah. It just, yeah, it's challenging, yeah, it's fun, but like after that long, it's repetitive. And I just wanted something new, and I wanted to make an impact. Um, yeah, and what kind of impact was I really making after all those years? Probably not much. At the beginning and in the middle, sure. At the end, not much. And I think in retrospect, I kind of knew that. And kind of jumping into Fedora for a moment, one thing
Sure.
I mentioned before was the team. Looking into the team, and when I first met the team at a barbecue, it was in Palo Alto. They were holding a barbecue. One of my coworkers, her name's Maggie, and it was they were celebrating her birthday, and so yeah, they had put out some invitations, and I went just to meet some people, say hi, just have a good time. And I met with a few people there. I was like, "Look, this is like I'm actually pretty impressed by this group." One person says, this has nothing to do with the tech by any means, but this one person I met, now my coworker, Bob with HR. He just happened to be there, and he was just a nice person, and I am kind of reserved and quiet, and I tend to gravitate towards people like that. I don't like large groups most of the time. So like, just kind of like me and him and maybe one other person started talking. And I just felt like in my conversations with them, you kind of pick up on whether or not someone knows what they're talking about. And I was speaking with him. He was new to the company. I was speaking with David Lin, VP of Engineering. Talked to Maggie, talked to a few people. I was like, these guys know their stuff. They know their stuff. They're good people, and that to me is a big thing too. And they're genuine. I had some other things going on in life. I had some other things going on with my career, and it felt right. Just felt right. And then when you combine that with some of the initiatives that they're working on, it just made sense. I'm trying not to go into certain specifics, but I don't. Sorry, I'm rambling here, so feel free to cut me
No,
off.
it's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with rambling. Sometimes in the ramble, when people kind of get lost and follow their stream of consciousness, they end up getting at like a kernel of truth, almost like when somebody makes a joke about you, when it's your friend, and they're like, "Yeah, man, good job, Dick," and they're like making fun of you, and they're like, they're making fun of you, but also there's that like, hey man, you're our friend, but you also effed up here, so we're gonna make fun of you and give you that kernel of truth.
Yeah.
We're not making fun of anybody, but sometimes I feel like that kernel of truth gets picked up in that stream of consciousness, kind of a ramble. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? Like when you trust working with people, it is significantly easier to take on risks that are present because you feel as if you're able to mitigate them by insulating yourself with people you trust, right? And I think that one of the things in Web3, it's really difficult to build that trust, especially with like asynchronous schedules. It's easy to hope that people will do what they say they're going to do. It's different when they actually do those things, and as things grow and as things evolve in this space, it's going to be interesting to see the people who continuously are successful, right? Like, I don't think success is like a destination. I don't think it's something that you have like all the time. I think it is something that you're capable of getting to all of the time. But if you have somebody who you know who is consistently successful, it makes it much easier to either invest in those projects or be a part of working for projects that you may not that may seem riskier to others because of the size of them. When you're changing companies going back and forth. Rugless, if you were available to answer that, you are involved in so many projects. How do you pick which projects do you become involved in? Because I don't think anyone's ever asked you that, and I would like to know. If you're not available, that's okay.
Basically, I'm gonna look like a dumbass as usual, but passion. I look for people with passion in the project they're in. If they love it, usually they'll not leave it until it's really, really, really like impossible for them to keep going, you know? That's the main thing. That's why I like to talk to people, hear them out, talk to their communities, see their experience. And especially when they go through the hard times, you know, like everyone is, you kind of get a feeling of who's gonna stick around and who's not. Hey, but that's my way. So it's just one way.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with you sharing how you do it, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about
so many.
tokenomics, so all that stuff, because half of it I don't get it. So I'll just go with the people, you know.
I agree. I like to look at the soft skills.
People, yeah. I mean, I'm just like speaking to people. I mean, it's to, like I said, it's to me, it's the team that matters most. And just my personal opinion here, but to me, it's the team that matters most. The people who are behind these keyboards, who are behind the project, who are, you know, what kind of passion do they have? How committed are they? Are they good at what they do? And can they articulate that passion? And does that passion translate into their work? So going back to my non-Web3 job, when I was asked, at one point, I was asked by our marketing team, again, my Web2 job, asked by our marketing team, hey, we're writing up a advertisement for the managed services group. I was part of the managed services team. What sets you apart? And our competitors do very similar things to what we were doing. So, and I feel like a lot of the same applies to Web3. Because there's a lot of projects out there. There's overlap, right? But to me, it's the people behind the team that makes the difference. So what I was getting at was, look, at my last job, we can say that we're 24/7. We can say that we have a bunch of CCIEs on the group. We could say that we do proactive monitoring and troubleshooting and, you know, certificate management and advanced troubleshooting. But they can also say the same thing. They can say the same thing. So, you know, what really sets us apart? It's the people. It's the people behind all of that. Because that's the experience. That's what's going to translate to your experience. That's what's going to translate into the future of the project. It's the people behind it. So yeah, that's just from my experience. It's the team that makes a difference. Sorry, again, rambling, but that's super important.
Yes, you are. It's okay.
No, but the team concept is really important, right? Because like if we talk about those devs who are amazing at being coders, and that's how they like communicate with people is by creating interactivity with technology. They generally need somebody to have a comms background in some other part of the team to help them, right? Because they have to. The person who's the founder has to be the face of the project, right? But they have to have somebody to help teach them or help facilitate them to have conversations with people that can be constructive and not seem that they are like either entirely scripted because it doesn't seem genuine, right? Like if it makes it very difficult. And I think another thing that's really difficult is when people are learning English as their second language. I know that we kind of experienced that with DeFi Tower with Mike, as he, he speaks Estonian as his primary language, and they do a lot of business English, but the American dominance on Twitter spaces of culture isn't something that really translate well for people and where he's from. So it makes it difficult to be as funny as he is without actually knowing him because of the the more reserved nature. So like I find it interesting that like that for me wasn't anything I had ever thought of, but seeing like the failures on communication, how they can kind of spiral out of control, because when you don't control the narrative, the masses control the narrative, right? Because if it's not concise information, if it's not out there, then it's going to be information that can be construed in whatever way the masses believe, because there's no information from the source to contradict that specific information that's out there. And like on the comm side, that's really difficult to control, right? Like controlling that is vital. And like when you put people out in public that aren't capable of understanding that the words that come out of their mouth have meaning, it's very, very, very difficult. And like, so I don't see teams that have that kind of balance. I find it very difficult on my end to understand where they're going to continue to grow that community. As like people will follow the tech, but like if you follow the tech and the team, like you have to kind of balance those things. And I don't know, that's just kind of where I was going with that, is like I feel like the team build up is really important. It's not just like these all are really awesome people at writing code or doing this one feature. Like there has to be people who understand, like your marketing from Web 2 doesn't work in Web 3. So you have to understand what you need to do in that instance. So I think we're all rambling now. So I think this is a wonderful time to take our first water break. And so,
I can make it worse.
go for it. You make it worse.
No,
Douglas.
I'm kidding. Go for it. Let's do the first water break.
All right. So this is where we're just going to kind of take a sip of water and reflect and hydrate and make sure that we remember that it's important to... what are we giving away today? Do we have anything to give away? I have stuff to give away. We can give away stuff. So let's do a raffle during this water break. Let's give away. I have some stuff from the next to give away. Let's give away 2 discounted whitelist tickets for glitches from the next during this the water break. Can we do that, Douglas?
Just get set up the raffle.
Yeah.
Because
perfect.
you said you made the surprise for me. You like me.
I know. I'm sorry. I know. But however, it's kind of understood that we're going to have a water break at some point in time. So
Coffee break.
That's fine.
Coffee
Yeah, you have to
flavored
get up.
water break.
It can be whatever you want. Some people it is 5 p.m. So for them, our water break is cerveza, right? And that's great. So there's nothing wrong with that.
And for some people, it's a beer break at 8 o'clock in the morning.
I hope not, but I hope not. That.
I hope not. Yeah. I hope
so.
Not.
We can. We can do like a funny story from Priest's background. I used to be a person who would choose alcohols that would be for sale within liquor stores and stuff. So I would have people trying to taste me on alcohol before 6 a.m. because most people don't taste the stuff before they sell it. Funny story. They don't do that. So like, how do you sell things you don't know what they taste like? And how do you recommend things to people if you don't know what people like based on what they buy their tastes, right? Like, so, man, Tuesdays used to be a really, really tough day. What's up?
I was going to ask, how long ago was that?
I mean, I did it for a while, but it was right up until my wife got pregnant. So like, what year? Wait, what year did 2021? Yeah, I ended in 2021, about like August, September-ish, 2021. Yeah, that's when I stopped doing that. But yeah, so you got to get up super early, and then have to. People try to sell a bunch of stuff, and once you understand what things taste like, it's a little bit easier. You can just say, like, "Yeah, I'm not really interested." But the issue is like, how do you get people cross-trained, right? Like, you have to take days off. Where you're going to go? How do you get people there? So, yep, there's like certifications and stuff you can get, but there
what
are
kind of alcohol were you tasting, or was it
anything?
tasting
Dude, everything. Like, so, like if the people are trying to bring in beer, I would make them taste me beer. There's a smaller liquor company that would try to sell like. So,
are you describing alcoholism here?
No. I like don't like to drink. but like you have so having a
Someone
sip.
makes him.
I'm
someone
talking like,
makes him
dude, do you
it.
want to drink gin in the morning? Do you want everyone to drink gin ever? Like ever? No.
Ever?
No one wants to
No,
fucking
not
drink gin.
ever. Not ever.
No,
No, gin
not
is
fucking
disgusting.
ever. I hate gin.
Awful.
But if I want to
It's
sell
like
gin to
Listerine.
people, I have to know what it tastes like, right? Like that is kind of you have to make yourself a repository of information so that you can take that information and relate it to people. And if you don't have the ability to relate what you're selling to people and understand what to do to make good recommendations, you'll never be successful in any kind of business that requires sales. So like you have to not only understand that you have to develop that process, but you have to like recognize that you can't. Like sometimes you just get F, dude. Like there was one day I probably drank from 6 a.m. till 2, and I never had more than like a drop of anything. But it'd be like, here's this kind of cognac, and there's 17 different flavors. And it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. But like, if you want to sell things, right? Like you have to understand that. And if you're going to sell a bottle of wine that costs, and if you're going to sell bottles of wine that cost $300 for you to buy, you have the opportunity to be like, yo, yeah, no, you have to taste me on that. I want to know what this $300 bottle of wine tastes like. So there's kind of positives too. But yeah, no, I don't like to drink at all. I don't think the levels on our alcohol in our house have changed in probably a year, other than a little bit of whiskey every now and then. But that's
yeah, I was going to ask you what's your go-to? What's your go-to cocktail or drink or beer or wine?
So I'm a firm believer that you have to pair. That what you eat and what you drink are then the pairing between them is vital for the experience of your meal. So I would say that the food pairing matters more than anything else. If I'm not going to have any food, though, if I'm just going to have a cocktail, I will generally get rye, neat, depending on what's available at the bar. If they don't have a rye that I'll drink, I will probably do it gin and tonic, because you can pretty much always get Bombay gin, which is pretty standard, and enough lime, and it's just summer in a glass. It reminds me of my dad. But beer wise, I like sour beers. I'm a weirdo. So like I like lemon.
Sour
I don't
beer.
like shandies.
No,
I do
you're
not like
not.
shandies. But I love sours. So that's my they're my jam. I like red wine generally, unless I'm day drinking. If I'm day drinking wine, it's got to be a rosé, because that's what it's for. But
you'd be very happy in Portugal. I just need to tell you that.
Yeah, dude, I know.
Yeah,
You know the
we
number
have
of things that.
basically
Yeah,
everything you love as alcoholic drinks. So
yeah, I
also
I
we
am
have
aware.
something that's we have one thing. Usually you have to pair fish, right, with white wine or red wine, correct? Fish and meat. Well,
Generally,
in Portugal we have one special fish that you can use each one, either kind. It's still perfect. It's codfish. It's like our it's bacalhau, like we say in Portugal.
Bacalhau.
Bacalhau.
My
Bacalhau.
family
I'm saying it with a British accent. I don't know why. I'm trying to act.
no, but so that is what I
already. Daniel already gave me the biggest praise, because he thought I was from UK. So there, he doesn't.
I just made the assumption.
Yeah, you don't know about accents.
No, it definitely wasn't your accent. It was knowing that one of the hosts is from the UK, right? Isn't he from the UK?
And
Yeah,
one of you guys are from the UK. Andy, yeah. I just assumed that you were all from the UK.
But yeah, no. We're actually so our web developers from South Africa. Rugless is in Portugal, clearly. Andy's in Spain, and I'm in the US, and Fizz is also in the US. And so is Logan. So we have we also are dealing with some of the growing pains of working asynchronously. Also to throw it in there, but actually we're pretty good, except for there's an issue with South Africa where they do something called load shedding. So our web dev doesn't have power sometimes during the day, and it's just expected. And it boggles my effing mind that is a thing. And it's just all right, how do we solve this problem? Let's send this man let's raise enough money, send this man a generator. Let's make sure he has enough fuel for this so he can work. Because that's bullshit. What do you mean you have to not have power during the day, and that's just expected? And then that's my first world bias right now coming out, right? But I feel that so for me personally, I feel like Web3 is an opportunity for us to raise the standard of living everywhere, right? Like, is the opportunity to empower people who are skilled no matter where they are, and let them showcase their skills, and let them, maybe better where they are. And I know that kind of sounds really altruistic, but like, I don't know. I'm weird. I like paying my taxes. I want my road to be paved, right? Like, I want the side of the road, the highway, the main part of our town, to not have weeds that are like, fucking up to my hips, right? Like, so it's a blinding issue, right? Like, I want things to be nice. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I understand that to get paid, but like, I also want things to be nice where my people, or like people who are a part of our team are. Like, I don't want that possibility to, like, you know what I mean? I don't want that. And like, I don't want to have to force people to move, be like, yeah, no, you have to leave where you're from. F that. Like, I want them to feel empowered to change where they are to make it what we'd want it to be. So I don't know. That's kind of the dad and priest coming out as to what we could possibly do. But yeah, man, I didn't really enjoy drinking a lot. I used to go to sleep at like 2 o'clock those days. I'd go straight home, go right to bed. But I did make a lot of really awesome connections. So whenever there's an NFT thing in DC, when everybody is here, let's put it this way, we will have the ballerest time. It'll be great. It'll be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if there's an old fashioned there, I would.
Oh, yeah. Look up Jack Roses.
My go-to.
Jack
Just
Roses
to
is
announce
like
that the raffle is going, just in case nobody noticed. How many are you giving away?
We're giving away 2. Because I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me of what I have available, and I know I have at least 2 of those.
What are you giving away?
So discounted minting for the glitches for the Next. The Next allows you to buy NFTs that are the bosses, and it's like a boss battle game. So you can actually own the bosses, and if your boss actually kills the player, you get the drops as if you were playing as a player killing the boss. So you can get cheaper versions of those when they they get dropped. They're dropping in like really small quantities. So like, people need to pay attention when they're dropping and that kind of jazz. But it's they're relatively expensive because they're open source 3D models. The glitch bosses will also be playable in the Ego versus First Strike game that's I think fully launched or about to fully launch. Rugless, I'm not sure.
Dude, I was gonna tell about that. You suck.
I'm sorry. You can talk about that.
Kidding. I'm kidding. Yes.
But,
the Eagleverse has a lot of connections with a lot of projects from Avex and from Harmony.
Correct.
And they're connecting everyone that has a 3D model. They can use introduce it to the game and play with it.
Yeah. So trying to have more interoperability and interconnectivity between projects. Trying to make it easier for everybody. And it makes it nice. I think it's a fun way. We had the Next on the podcast much earlier, so you'll have to join the Next Discord if you win, and I will vouch for your wins with John to make sure you get everything done properly on that. We'll link you properly in our Discord. I'll take care of it.
If he doesn't, I will.
Completely fine. What's up?
So why is the podcast called Crypto Lamb? Why Lamb?
So it started with, so do you remember the Harmony hack? I
forgot completely. Yeah, he forgot completely. He has no idea what happened. Look at that face.
I'm setting it up. Yeah, you gotta set it up. So there was a discussion that you were in the Harmony Roundtable Discord where we had about every single project leader from Harmony within half an hour of the hack happening, maybe. Maybe it was a little bit later. Maybe it was after it got announced publicly. And I think Sam also hopped in at one point in time.
Yes,
and
you did.
Yeah. You guys were both there, and so that we
I was
live streamed that. Yep. Andy live streamed it, right? And then we kind of just started talking about that kind of stuff for a while. And then it just kind of evolved into people coming on and talking about their projects and like it being more of a like conversational podcast, not an AMA, so to speak. That's kind of why we, will never charge people to come on. We kind of like being able to get project leaders on and ask them like, difficult questions. And sometimes the difficult question isn't necessarily about their project. Sometimes it's about things in their real life or about an interaction they had with somebody or something. And, when you can able to get like real responses from people and how they, choose to do things, it makes it much easier to have trust in them. So it started like that, dude. And from there, it just kind of was always in Andy's name for the whole time. And then like, eventually it was just kind of like, hey, we're all on it. So we're just not going to rebrand it. It's just going to be the same thing. And it's just, yeah, exactly. Why you?
I do just want to say from there, sorry, I am listening in the background. I'm just dealing with some other stuff. Hello, Daniel, by the way. I'm sorry for being ignorant. But whilst it's called the Crypto Lamb Show, because it's just a case of rolling with it rather than changing the name every 10 minutes, it is most definitely the Lamb, Fizz, Priest, Rugless, everybody that's involved in it. It is their show. It's just a name now,
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if Lamb maybe at some point was like an acronym for something, or maybe you have a lamb.
No. So it's actually my surname. Well, it's not my full surname, but it's part of my surname. So it's like I was kind of trying to think of a name for crypto, and it was just Crypto Lamb.
Got it. And I, at one point in time when I was getting ready to leave the job that allowed me to coach full time, I was streaming while I was working because I didn't have to work every day. I had like a pretty comfy hours, so I was able to have like a solid block to play video games, and I'm relatively good at video games. I'm good at having a conversation, but I'm not good at doing both. So it was a kind of a failure there on that front, or more recognizing what my skill set was. So I had to pick an elephant graph. I had like a graphic for stuff, so I picked like an elephant and stuff. So that's why I'm an elephant. If people wonder why, I was just like, hey, I don't forget anything, and if you're mean to me, I'll stomp on you. How about that? I like that. My wife thought roll with it, so that's why I'm that. Why are you Sir Rugless?
I'm Sir Rugless on average because I started with a joke on the project, the Holy Grail one. You guys remember that one?
Actually, I'm not. I don't know about the Holy Grail. Could you please explain people about?
Man, it was such a great experience.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Holy Grail.
Holy Grail. Yeah, it was because I met most people that right now I know and I like, and MTop came from there. A lot of mods I knew came from there. A lot of project owners came from there, not from working there, but it went bad, so they decided to do it right. So usually I take my bad experiences like a plus, I use that to improve and to listen to people around me. So I was there. I didn't actually got rugged because I took money out before it all went down. I kept taking the profits out, So I don't consider
a lot of marketplace assets also came from that.
Yeah,
from what I remember.
Yeah, and after that, I was still Sir Rugless because actually I didn't get rugged. So then I don't know, it was like midnight. I bought some stupid project called Ball or some. I don't know, it wasn't Ball. It was something safe, those kind of pumps. Just try it out, and the next morning it didn't exist. So that was so much fun. I only put like $50, so. I started. Then someone told me, why don't you put just on average, because you're basically still good on average, and it stuck. Yeah, I like it. It's not like a medal or nothing, but it's just funny, You have to take all the bad decisions with fun. Take the bad and turn it into something good and fruitful. And since then, I've been in every single Discord that exists.
That's very true. You are in every Discord. I think I beat you into Discord like twice. I think that is like my achievement.
Yeah, well, once I got the achievement to getting in the Discord before Flu, like literally 5 minutes before him, and that was not easy. Usually he gets in first. Yeah, usually he gets always first. Yeah, everyone invites him first, so that was pretty.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, basically it was
Booze
just
and
time
everything.
zones. It's just time zones, you know. She
So
was
Daniel,
asleep
you
and I was not.
oh, you're good. Yeah, I understand. That's how it works. Because this whole like asynchronous work schedule and trying to keep up with people who work like 12 hours opposite you is very difficult to do. Um, but going to crypto semi stuff, Daniel, you said you don't do DeFi. So what in crypto do you do? Like what do you dabble with? Like what kind of do you like fancy pictures? Do you like games? What do you do within the crypto space when you're, lighting your money on fire?
Well, when it comes to my money, I'm pretty um I play it safe. I've purchased some NFTs. Not many, not many to be very honest. And yeah, I've never really got into DeFi. Just never really appealed to me. But again, that's just me. I know plenty that's appeals to a lot of people. Uh, yeah, I mean, I've dabbled in a few games. I mostly it's work. It's work, and it's for me. It's more of like working in an industry that is expanding, new, and exciting. The technology itself is just super exciting. Do I get into DeFi? No. Do I really buy a lot of NFT projects? No. But I still appreciate it. And I certainly appreciate the tech behind it all. Like Fedora's, FIP2 or FIP3 for ZKDID, or their triple masking. I mean, just like the advancements that's being made, whether it's Fedora or not, that's the stuff that really excites me. I'm a gamer as well. I haven't really played too many games in Web3. I've most certainly jumped into Rocket Monsters a couple of times. And shout out to the Rocket Monsters team. How's it going, guys?
We love
also
Rocket
to
Monsters
Mafis.
here. We agree.
Yeah.
What else?
And
What else?
Mafis.
Oh hell yeah!
I said
Shout out to
Mafis because you guys said, yeah, mention his
Oh, we
name. I
love
want to say
Mafis.
what's up. Yeah. So, I don't know if that answers your question. But
No,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
cool.
when it comes to gaming, I'm very old school when it comes to that. I'm more of a Steam PC gamer than anything else.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
so
let's kind of dabble here, right? So like you kind of mentioned Rocket Monsters, right? And the reason why I think Rocket Monsters is kind of an interesting point to make as you discuss Steam, because we're going to get into that in a second, is like Rocket Monsters is now available via a launcher. It's not it's on an Ethereum based layer 2, right? So you can play as your characters, and I think that launches sometime this week. I don't know what Pandora is doing with Rocket Monsters specifically, but I kind of have a guesses, and I know we can't talk about that, so we'll just pretend there's alpha there. You guys kind of can know that exists. But I know that Rocket Monsters and San also have a partnership, so that's dope.
yes, they
But
do.
what I wanted to get at with there is when you were playing on Steam, Daniel, what kind of games do you, one, spend your most time playing, and then two, what kind of games do you keep from yourself because you would spend even more time playing?
I keep myself away from Skyrim. Probably like a lot of other people. Whenever I've spent way too many hours in Skyrim. More hours though spent on Left 4 Dead 2. I think Left 4 Dead 2. I don't even want to mention how many hundreds of hours I have on that. But yeah, so I keep myself away from Skyrim because every single time I see a video on it, I just want to reinstall it. But then I get into installing all the mods, the graphics mods, shaders, like 4K textures and everything, and then I just end up breaking the game, and I curse, and then I uninstall it. But what do I play? I tend to gravitate towards. I guess it depends. It really depends. Like, I don't. I play a lot of games. I don't finish a lot of games. I've noticed, like, over the years, especially over the past like 7, 8 years, I don't finish. I rarely finish a game. It has to be really catch my attention for me to finish it. So, like, I finished. It was a recent one I finished. Like, I guess the most recent on PC I finished was Doom Eternal. I finished Prey. I know that's a years back, but I was a little late to it. I finished Prey. I finished Subnautica. I'm late to this one too. I just started Ghost of Tsushima on PlayStation.
Ooh, that's a good one. You're gonna have fun with that one.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good. Oh my god. It's like, oh, the story is good, but just they really made it where you can feel like a total badass.
Have you played Elden Ring yet?
No. I haven't played Elden.
Don't do it.
No,
well, I mean, if you like Ghost of Tsushima, Elden Ring is like the next one you should do. There's a lot to do, so you might not want to do it. Think like your Skyrim type of. There's not those mods yet, but like, I think you'll have a blast, but it might be a black hole for you.
I'm afraid to get in. Not afraid. I'm hesitant to get into Elden Ring because I've watched other people play it, mainly like YouTube reviews and playthroughs, and it just looks like it would beat my ass into oblivion. It seems like it's just such a difficult game that I would just die within the first 5 minutes and then throw my controller against the wall.
I don't play the Dark Souls games either. So you're in good company with me on that. I broken too many things.
Yeah. I think the closest I've gotten to something like that is like Jedi Fallen Order, which I know is not like it's nowhere near as difficult. But it's something like that. I also finished that recently. It depends. It really depends on my mood. And what I'm looking for. It could be although first person shooters don't really appeal to me that much these days. They used to. I really tried to get into some VR games, and they were real hit or miss. Half-Life Alyx, I never finished it, but I got a little more than halfway through it. That was amazing. What else? I mean that's what comes to mind right now. Right now I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima, and I think that's it. I also tried playing what's that game where you're like it's the open world. You're fighting against like robotic dinosaurs and shit. God.
Terraria?
No. You're playing as this badass woman with like red hair. And
I know that one.
Horizon something?
Yeah,
Horizon. Yeah. Something Dawn. Zero Dawn?
Zero Dawn, yeah, that's the one.
Zero
I
Dawn,
played that
okay.
one.
Tried playing it.
Like 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, it was really hard to get into too.
I played 15 minutes and I had to take care of the kids. So,
Yeah,
I
I'm kids.
understand.
Which is like I guess why I'm still playing games. But
I mean, you don't really get a lot of time to play games when you have kids, but I will say that there are times that you can play. You just kind of have to recognize when they are.
Mm-hmm.
But crypto takes a lot of that time now. But we kind of are getting we're getting a little close to the end time. So, Ruggles, if there's another raffle, we should run that now. Who won the first one?
Oh, I already run both of them.
Perfect.
So
Who won?
Is Nagarjuna and Kirik.
Nagarjuna and Kirik. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you join the Discord so that we can give you the stuff. I can get your wallets directly to John to make sure they're taken care of from the next. But what we'd like to do today is ask Daniel one of our famous questions. And Andy, if you're there, since I get to be the one to ask that question so often, and I'm tired of taking hosting responsibility.
Andy is not here.
Oh, well then, do you want to ask it, Douglas?
No.
Oh, do you want to ask?
I have my own.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to ask the question from that Fizz came up with that we ask everybody, and generally throws people for a little bit of a loop. So sorry, bro. If you could relate yourself or Findora to a fruit, which fruit would it be and why?
Wow. I've never been asked this question before. God, and I feel like my answer is just gonna be so lame. And I know there are people out there. There's probably someone out there who might watch this or is watching this and would give a completely different answer. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a type of fruit. The first thing that comes to my mind isn't a specific type of fruit, but it's the fruit that like is at the very back of the pile if you're like at a supermarket, right? It's like all the way at the back and you can barely see it because it's kind of in hiding. Because I don't like I said, I don't like large groups of people and I tend to keep to myself. So I'm all the way in the back. It's like all the way down the pile. But type of fruit, I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you. How about I just tell you my favorite fruit? And then maybe that buys me a little bit of time to give a better answer.
Sure. Yeah, no. If it needs to be connected to Findora.
Connected to Findora.
Yeah, man. Welcome to Why It's So Difficult. And I'd like to actually point out that the people who are professional in comms, both you and David Gockstein, have that now spent the most time what we like to call filling.
They're scared.
And they are afraid of giving a bad answer. So I just want to shout out to David. You're amazing. It's not just you, bro. It's every pro comms person.
Also, there's another cat. There are no bad answers.
There are no bad answers.
No.
Yeah, because like
it's
I have a tendency to overthink things sometimes. All the time. Yeah, it's like I'm like, oh, like it has to be perfect. Well, my favorite fruit, I might as well just say that is mango. Fucking love mangoes, man. I love them. Can't have enough of them. And watermelon too. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Coconut or watermelon, if it had to be Findora, where it's like, there's like a protective outer layer and the good stuff is in the inside. I don't know. I feel like that's like such a lame answer though. And I don't even really eat a lot of coconut. But I'm going to stick to that. That's my answer.
Wonderful.
It's a shit answer.
We should
it's a shit answer,
we should start putting these answers on the website because we're having a lot of repeats.
Yeah.
Someone already said coconut.
We have had everything. Everything is we haven't actually tracked the number of podcasts we have. We just kind of show up every day. I think we've missed one day because I had no internet because we were remodeling the baby nursery, and that's where the internet comes in from the outside of the house. And we may or may not have broken a piece. And I was like, oh, shit. All right, well, we don't have internet. And then I think that's it. I think that's the only day we've missed, but we don't know how many we've done. So, like, there's only so many fruits, right? Like, I think we even had tomato. I know we've had apple multiple times, mango multiple times. We had a jackfruit once. That's kind of a rare
Watermelon.
one. We had a green
Watermelon.
coconut. Yeah.
Mm,
Watermelon.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of bananas.
And a lot of bananas. It's true. Actually, I think
That's too easy though. That's way too easy.
it's not just
Yeah.
bananas though, Daniel. Like it's bananas in smoothies. So and it's not like we had like 3 or 4 guests within like 2 weeks that said it, and it was hysterical to me that they all said not only just bananas but bananas in smoothies. And those guests are listening, and I am calling you out, boys. That's right. I don't care.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Nice.
But-
Well, I am going to really quick. Sorry, Rugless was gonna give his answer, or
Oh no!
I'm sure he's already answered though.
Yeah, I just want you to tell me what is the meaning of life for you.
The meaning of life.
For you.
I'm trying to figure that shit out myself, man.
Perfect.
I have been. I'll give the first thing that comes to mind is there is no meaning. That's my answer. Is that the meaning of one's life is completely dependent on that individual who's trying to answer that question for themselves. Whatever they define is the meaning, that is their meaning. Because I believe that the universe is indifferent. The universe, in my opinion, doesn't care. It just is. So that meaning, to me, there is no grand meaning. It's all just whatever you want to make of it. And if you want the meaning of life to simply be, binge watching shows and eating ice cream on a couch till you're 85 years old, then that's what the meaning of life is.
That's pretty good.
Sounds like a good life to me. I mean, right? So yeah, to me there is no meaning. It is what you make of it.
Yeah, I'm just trying
That's
to
my
get
answer.
someone to think the theme song from Monty Python.
They're not going to be. We're not going to be able to get that until we have like older people on
Yeah,
this
I know,
podcast,
man.
dude.
I just
And by the time
screwed
we get those older
everything-
people on the
I
podcast,
screwed
they
everything
probably won't understand how to use Discord. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be that kind of a conversation.
So I'm special. Okay, thank
Bro.
you.
So Daniel,
I've actually never really watched Monty Python.
You need to
myself.
watch Life of Brian,
my
and it's
God,
gonna
the
change
Life
your
of
life.
Brian.
It
Yes.
will
Yeah,
change your
okay.
life forever.
Okay.
Forever.
Also,
All right.
Holy Grail is
It will
pretty
still-
flippin' awesome too.
It will still be meaningful. Meaningless.
Yeah,
but still
I'm
will
certainly
change your
I'm a not that they're the same, but when it comes to like parodies, like I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's right up
if
your alley.
it's anything like that, then that's my stuff.
Man,
Grew up
my
with Mel
favorite
Brooks.
movie as a kid was Airplane. I watched that movie 500 times.
Airplane. Oh my god. Yeah.
I still dream
it
of
makes
watching
so
that
much sense
again.
as to why I like you, Ruggles. It makes so much sense as to why I like you.
Spaceballs was mine. Spaceballs. I used to be able to
Yes,
just
of
like
course, of
recite the
course.
whole script. Oh man.
Robin Hood Men in
yeah.
Tights was mine.
Gee,
I never really
yeah,
liked that.
it's-
Spaceballs was
it's-
mine, and
it's-
yeah,
Dude, I
Robin
love
Hood.
musicals. I'm just a music. I'm weird. I like that. I don't care. I like musicals. I enjoyed like Newsies when I was a kid too. But like
Yeah,
Robin Hood Men in Tights, I could sing like every word to the entire movie, like with my eyes closed, and like all those practical jokes just make me laugh so hard.
and they're just so silly and stupid, right? It's the
Yep.
stupidity of it that makes it so good. Just
the
like
blind guy gets hit in the
Yeah.
face a bunch of times, and then he can see, and then he gets hit again. He's like, okay, oh, I'm blind again. Never mind. And just like, when you're a kid, it's like, you know what I mean? It's not like cutting humor. It's just kind of like stupidity and slapsticky. It's kind of fun.
it's like old school Looney Tunes, like slapstick, just like stupid humor, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because I know we're getting to the end here. It was going to be a soft shill slash an addendum to one of my previous to an answer that I gave to a previous question that was about mass adoption. So it's a small, shameless chill. But I do believe that it is true. Okay, I'm not like reading from the goddamn script here or anything. But the other thing I was going to say about mass adoption and getting more people into Web3, because when you asked that question, I was thinking to myself of like just the general user, like my mother, right, or my sister. But when we're talking about like wide scale global mass adoption, again, soft shell, is privacy. Okay. And the way that I equate what Fedora, again, soft shell, is doing when it comes to privacy, I like to equate it to where we're currently at with the way that we interact with the internet. And the way that we interact with the internet right now is privacy is expected. It just is. Now, maybe not so much on things like Facebook or Instagram where your data gets sold. I'm talking about making the data and your personal information that you are sending over the wire, over the internet, over the cloud, private, right? That doesn't mean that it cannot be at some point looked at or audited for security purposes, legal purposes, or anything. But when I go into a website, I expect for there to be a little lock on the left-hand corner of the URL. I'm expecting that the information that I'm putting in about my username and my password and who I am not to be sniffed or intercepted by somebody else because it is a private channel, right? Standard SSL, standard HTTPS, or TLS encryption, right? Again, doesn't mean that at the end of the day, in the future, if I do something wrong, that the information or whatever that I did cannot be looked into further, right? So that's what's expected. Everyone expects that. They might not even realize that what they're doing is handled in a secure manner, but they do expect that. And that's the stuff that I'm excited about in Web3. And that's the stuff that I'm excited about with Fedora when it comes to especially the improvement proposal 2. Also, triple masking. Triple masking is coming where we're hiding the token, the token type, the amount, and the address. That's down the line. It's coming soon. But with PIP2, we have an improvement proposal where token issuers can create what we're calling auditable, privacy-preserving assets. Right? And what that means is that someone, an issuer like Circle or another institution, can create an asset, can create a token, and that token is auditable by them, viewable by them for auditing purposes. But to everyone else, it is private. Okay, so it's not that everything is being kept secret. To everyone, it can't be looked at if someone's laundering money or they need to comply with regulations. That's thought of. It's already thought of. It is possible. But that does not mean that the average person's data, that their information cannot be held in a private and secure manner, right? Both can exist at the same time. That's something that Fedora is doing. So mass adoption requires institutional adoption. Institutional adoption requires the comfort in knowing that their customers and their users' data can be kept private, but can also be audited. So, yeah.
Well, I think you did. No, the one.
Yeah, you're going to.
We invited you here for a reason.
You're win the next selection. Yeah. That's great.
Exactly.
I'm kidding, man. Awesome.
No, I think it's great. I think it's awesome. You did a great job.
Awesome. You did awesome.
You did a great job. Especially for someone who gets nervous. You did a wonderful job. And there's nothing wrong with you talking about your project that you work for. One of the things that we kind of, try to do is make sure people understand the people behind the projects. And then, I think for Fedora specifically, I think the zero knowledge applications and how that works, I think needs to be explained by somebody. eventually. But I think showing the audience the side of you as one of the people who's leading the community and the comms is really important. So thank you for taking the time to share that with us on what is early time for you. We know it starts real early for you, and I know it's late for Rugless, and it's kind of awesome for me. So I just want to appreciate your time and say thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you as well, and just tell them that this is what I mean by passionate people. I love people that are passionate about their projects. So you're
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I hope that someone somewhere at some point found this either helpful or entertaining, or informative.
Both.
I don't know.
Both.
I don't know. Both. Maybe.
Both.
Probably not. Probably not. Let's be honest here. It's probably not. But
Yeah,
I can still hope for it. I can still hope.
So the last thing we do before we sign off and say goodbye is we give positive affirmations for the audience. Maybe some of them have some free time because they don't have a job right now because of COVID stuff, and they're trying to get into Web3. Sometimes it's, they work evenings, and this is, before they go to bed, or, depending on what kind of shift work they are, wherever they are in the world, they have a different time to listen to this. So what type of positive, life motto could you share to the audience so that they have something that they could, reflect on?
Man, it's to mind. A lot comes to mind. A lot comes to mind, so I'm just gonna let it fly here. Hopefully it makes sense. The first thing that comes to mind is keep going. Like, keep doing, find your, I said this before, but like, find your passion and just keep going at it. Right? Keep going at it. Get yourself out there. Put yourself out there. And if you're having a hard time, that's okay too. It's okay to not be in a good place, to maybe even not feel inspired or not feel passion, but it's in there. It's there somewhere, very likely. It's just a matter of working at it and finding it and really dig in sometimes. Sometimes it requires digging in even deeper, right? It requires if you're trying to find that passion, or if you're trying to get into a new project, like I would say maybe even practicing some self-reflection, and like aiming to be a better person also, because when a lot of doors open up when you really try to better yourself, it translates into your work. It translates into how people see you, in my opinion. So find that passion, work on that passion, get yourself out there. If you're not having a great time right now, again, and I feel like I'm kind of speaking to myself here, but if you're not having if you're having personal things, that's okay too, right? Things pass, things will get better. Just keep at it, man. Whoever you are, whoever's listening, just keep at it.
Thank you for sharing that, man.
I'm sorry if that's generic, but I mean,
no,
beautiful. That's beautiful.
It's beautiful. There's a reason those sayings get said and those sentiments get echoed. It's because they actually do have meaning, and it's not that. It's the meaning you bring to it, right? Like what means to you, when we talk about the meaning of life, what matters to you is not necessarily what matters to me. That's why there's no common good, but there are things that are generally accepted as good things to do. So before we go into too much and get ourselves completely late for other meetings I know that we all have later today, I want to thank Daniel for taking the time out of his morning to come on to the podcast this morning. I know it was a little bit different than we've had before, everybody, and we just want to say thank you to everyone who was able to be here today. Rugless, do you have any positive affirmations for people before we sign off for the day?
Oh, just be happy. That's it. Be
Like
happy.
it.
If you can, just try hard.
Yep, I like it. And sometimes you can't be happy, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of being happy is recognizing
Part of
when.
life.
Yep. Sometimes being unhappy is just part of life. But
Oh man,
I
now
just
you're
want
making me feel sad, man.
No, it's great. It's okay though. The parts of life that make you sad, when you reflect on them as you get through it, and you process your feelings, and you do like come out the other side. When you look at what made you happy, you can be more present in the moments that matter coming up, right? Like if you, like Daniel was saying, being reflective, try to be present in the moments that are happy. You're going to be happy sometimes, you're going to be sad sometimes, but you know, the happy times mean that much more when you've gone through sadness. So,
the last thing that I want to add, one thing I want to add to that is
sure.
This is something that I really need to practice myself, but it's something that I've read about. I've been told this before. Is you are not your feelings, right? You're not your emotions. You are, just because you feel sad doesn't mean that you yourself are sad. Do not associate yourself or tether yourself to those emotions. Those emotions will pass, right? You're not sad 24/7 since birth, right? So that's not who you are. So if you're sad, if you're not feeling great, that's okay. If you're happy, that's great too. But that's just part of life. You know, there will be sunny days, there will be cloudy days, but that doesn't mean that life is always cloudy or life is always sunny. You just got to, you know, look at it for what it is, and sometimes take a step back, look at it from a third person perspective and say, like, this is my sadness or this is my happiness, and I'm going to try to understand it, and I'm going to try to appreciate it however I can, and I'm going to try to learn from it, because it's not who I am. This is just what I'm feeling right now. So, I don't know.
Normally I am the one who says the really profound things, and everyone has to go after me. It gets upset, so I try to go last. But I think Daniel might have taken the cake with that one. What do you think, Rugless? All right, so I'm going to finish it up with no 0 days. I'm just going to reiterate everybody else. Go to Coach Priest for a little bit here at no 0 days. Recognize that sometimes you have to rest, but that's not a 0 day. That's recognizing that you're recharging the batteries. That is a test that you need to do. That is not a 0 day. But, you know, try to make sure you do something towards the things you care about. Once again, I am Priest. Our guest was Daniel Pagan from Fendora and Discrete Labs. Rugless, everyone knows Rugless. He is Crypto's G-Man. For Fizz and Andy, who can't be here right now, we just want to say thank you guys for being here, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Dude, it's all good. I feel refreshed, man. You know, water breaks are so necessary.
How about you give us an introduction and tell us what we have to look forward to today?
Juice, if you were a fruit, what fruit would you be?
A banana?
All right, so Rugless, if you could relate yourself or your project, whichever one you want to go with, to a fruit, which fruit would it be and why?
Okay, I'll go with the Eagleverse and banana.
Why
Okay,
a banana,
why
bro?
Dude, it's all good. I feel refreshed, man. You know, water breaks are so necessary.
How about you give us an introduction and tell us what we have to look forward to today?
Juice, if you were a fruit, what fruit would you be?
A banana?
All right, so Rugless, if you could relate yourself or your project, whichever one you want to go with, to a fruit, which fruit would it be and why?
Okay, I'll go with the Eagle Verse and banana.
Why
Okay,
banana,
why
bro?
Because I just every time I speak with H1, it feels like I'm peeling one more piece of that banana, and it keeps getting better and better.
That sounds so
That
wrong.
project is awesome. So every time you think you know it, you know everything about it, it just surprises you. That's why.
You're the kind of guy. You're the kind of guy that if you were sat in the same room, you'd be eating a banana and maintaining aggressive eye contact. That's the kind of
forcing the entire thing into his mouth at once.
Yeah.
I think the thing that we'll focus on this week is making sure that you stretch.
I don't know. I reckon a coconut, a green one.
a green coconut. Okay, we've had coconut before, but not a green one. Why?
I don't know. You got to go through the hard stuff before you can get to the good stuff. So
Yeah, thanks for asking. I think I would say probably a mango is like a fruit that you think is like pretty good, but when you actually bite into it, you're like, oh, this is delicious and amazing. Because like I'm all about trying to make things fun, make things enjoyable, and maybe a little bit surprising. Like, you know, your own mentality can make such a big difference in your life, your positivity and stuff. And I really, really enjoy being in spaces with all the people here, the other spaces that I've been in, and learning from everybody. So I get really excited, and I hope other people do too.
someone said something stupid. Swipe right now, I'm watching what you did. Power down now, I'm at a disadvantage. But I think that it's worth it. I put my headphones on, I play my favorite song. I go to sleep and try again. Mama used to try and tell me no man is an island, but I think I feel like drifting away. Mama used to say tomorrow never comes, so make the most, but I think I am done with today. Boss says, man, you gotta make an effort. Feel like all I do on earth is just say yes, sir. And when I tell people how they make me feel, they treat me like a leper. I put my headphones on, I play my favorite song. I go to sleep and try again, again. Mama used to try and tell me no man is an island, but I think I feel like drifting away. Mama used to say tomorrow never comes, so make the most, but I think I am done with today.
I got a bottle of Patron and some lights off. Two red devil looking eyeballs. And I'm finna turn up when the night falls. If you hear a siren, then it's my fault. Jump in my whip, baby, let's ride. We ain't gonna stop at a red light. And I'ma take shots like a Tech 9. It's gonna get live. Here we go, it's about to go down. Let me know, I'ma buy another round. Get low, drop it down to the ground. Oh yeah, wow, shorty make it bounce. Mama see the put cuffs on my cardiac. Took my breath away like a heart attack. And I'ma spend every dime and my money back. Everybody wanna know. If you're ready, let me know. Let's go. If you're ready, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. If you're ready, let me know. Here we go. Let's go. I got a bottle of Grey Goose and ice cubes. Have a drink that'll put me in the right mood. 80 proof's gonna lower my IQ. And I've been the same way since high school. I look shorty right in her brown eyes. She about to take a trip to Cloud 9. I'm the man, baby, I get the crowd hype. I turn the cadence of a hook into a soundbite. Here we go, it's about to go down. Let me know, I'ma buy another round. Get low, drop it down to the ground. Oh yeah, wow, shorty make it bounce. Mama see the put cuffs on my cardiac. Took my breath away like a heart attack. And I'ma spend every dime and my money back. Everybody wanna know. Let's go. If you're ready, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. If you're ready, let me know. Here we go. Let's go.
There's been something on my mind and it keeps hurting me. You've been treating me like
see the signs, cause you kept hiding it. Now slowly every part of me is shivering. I kept denying all the pain and didn't want to hurt again. Now slowly I began to see the real you. You are something I don't want to have. A million problems inside of my head. This is something I cannot forget. Another one. You're the only one.
calling, like I'm afraid to love. No one can see.